Ta-da! Look who it is.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Alex and you are watching BC Adventure. So my last video did pretty well by my channel standards, and I just want to say thank you to all of you for all the engagement and comments, feedback, and experience that you guys have had with Plex and the changes that have been happening. The comments, best engagement I've had on a video in quite a while. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who gave positive feedback, critical criticism as to the way I do things and have done things. I want to say thank you. Of course, that did bring out some hate, which, sucks, but I have exposed myself on the internet and put myself out there, and that's obviously going to come with some criticism. One comment really struck a nerve with me in particular, which I'm going to put somewhere up here, because as some of you know, I have been going through some health issues, and it's a pretty unwarranted comment. If we're going to attack people's physical appearance, that's, like, why? Like, this is not the community that I'm trying to build. It's not, I don't want anyone like that in this community. It doesn't make it a space where people feel comfortable to learn or grow or ask questions. So screw you, and you're no longer welcome here. That's the bottom line. So I'm not asking for anyone to go out and say negative things or anything like that, but I am going through some health issues, and I'm tackling them one thing at a time. And I already feel self-conscious enough about it, and it hurt. So we'll move on to the topic of today's video, which is getting started with Unraid in 2025. Last year I did one for getting started with Unraid in 2024. Since then, some huge improvements have been done to Unraid, and I figured, well, let's start from scratch. Let's do a starter video for people who want to get into Unraid and just want a simple tutorial for how they can get started and what they need to do. So I'm going to walk you through each step from getting the USB flash drive set up and ready to go. We're going to talk about, or I'm going to demonstrate your first boot, how to get your starter license so you can try Unraid out, and then a few common tips and tricks to get your machine running optimally, and a few apps to get you started with as well in the Docker environment. I will also show you how to get a virtual machine running, so you've got a good basis to start with, so that you can start exploring Unraid on your own with some basic knowledge that'll help get you started without having to go back and forth from tutorials and all that. So I'm gonna keep it nice and simple, not too long of a video, but yeah. Again, thank you all for watching. Thank you to all my subscribers. We hit 1,000 the other day, which I didn't think was going to happen for a few more months. So I'm pretty excited about that. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to the community. Thank you to the people that have joined the Discord server and participated in the community. Thank you. I really appreciate you all. And with all that said, let's jump into it. All right, so the first thing we are going to do is open up a browser and head on over to unraid.net. And from here, we're just going to go over to the free trial button. And then we're going to download the USB configurator for either Windows or Mac. So since I'm using a Mac, I'm going to download for my OS X, of course. And then once that's finished, we'll just go ahead and open that up. And for Mac, super simple, just drag and drop over. And that is done. So we'll close that out, and I will just open up the USB creator. And here we're going to choose our OS. So we're going to go with the latest version. And then we need a good USB drive. So I've picked up this verbatim 16 or 32 gig drive, and it's rated at a 3,000 pound crush test, and it's melt proof, fireproof, waterproof. It is a great USB drive for Unraid, and it's also USB 2.0, which Unraid prefers. A lot of people don't tell you that. Unraid prefers a USB 2.0 drive. I have had nothing but problems with USB 3.0 drives. They'll fail within 6 months. Maybe I just happen to get a bad batch because I do buy in bulk typically. But the USB 2.0s, I've had that drive in my server for over a year now with absolutely no issues. So I highly recommend the verbatim, I believe it's called a File Vault. I will put a link in the description down below. So for Unraid, I'm going to be using this guy. So I'm just going to get this plugged in here. And then from there, I'm going to choose the storage. And oh no, what is this one? 32 gig. There it is there. So it is a 32 gig. It's Tough Max. That's what it is. Okay, so from there, we're just going to click next. And here we can actually give it a name. So I'm going to name mine BC Adventure. And I will put test in there. And I'm going to let Unraid grab its own IP. If you want to go ahead and set a static IP, that's a great opportunity to go ahead and do that. But because this is just an example, I'm not going to be setting a permanent IP. So from here, it's going to ask if we want to make sure that we want to format the drive. And in this case, we do. So here it's going to begin to download the Unraid operating system, and it's going to start copying it over to the USB drive. So once that's done, we'll jump back into it, but I'm just going to let it finish, and I'll fast forward until it's done. Okay, so it looks like there was an issue there, so we're just going to try this again. I'm just going to actually set it to 7.1.2. And we'll see if that fixes it, or maybe there's just an interruption, who knows. But I'm going to try 7.1.2. All right, so that is all finished up. Now, I do have to say that it did take a lot longer than it usually does. Normally only takes a couple minutes. So if I could offer my best guess, it's that the Unraid servers are being hit pretty hard right now, either with updates or people are just flocking to Unraid. Who knows? So now that that's done, I am going to have to get the test server set up and connected to my USB capture card. So yeah, we'll jump right back into it as soon as I have that all ready to go. All right, so it turns out that my cheap $30 USB capture card is no longer working. I've tried multiple USB cables and HDMI cables to no luck. So we're going to set this server up how Unraid was intended to be set up, which is to be headless. What does headless mean? Well, that means that we are going to just essentially plug this in, let it boot off the USB drive, and then find the IP address using our network, and then set it up via a browser. The last tutorial I did, we actually set it up using the machine itself with a monitor, but we're not going to do it that way. So I highly suggest that when you create your USB drive that you set a static IP. And then also in your system's BIOS, you're going to want to set it to boot from the USB drive. Whether if you're using old hardware like legacy BIOS, then you're going to want to set it up to boot off your USB drive, of course. And then if you're using UEFI, you want to make sure that you've gone into your UEFI settings and made sure that it is set to use the USB drive. Once that's done, all you need to do is just plug the drive in, turn it on, wait about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the speed of your system. And then head on over to the IP address that you set either statically or using a network search app such as Fing or a whole number of network utilities that you can download for your phone for free from the Google Play Store or Apple App Store. All right, so I have to actually change the BIOS to boot from USB. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then once that's done, we'll jump back in, open up a browser and set this thing up from scratch. I'm not gonna do anything on the monitor. I'm gonna do everything from scratch through the browser. So we'll jump right into that. All right, so we're gonna open up a browser here. And we are going to head over to the IP address. And here we're going to have to start getting it set up. So like I said, I wasn't doing anything on the system. We are going to do this together. So I'm going to set a password for it. And we're going to start a 30-day trial. We now have 30 days from today's date to play around with this. So the first thing that we need to do is add a hard drive. So we're going to set some devices here. And I've just got a 4 terabyte drive that we're going to be working with. Now, once we do that, we need to... Oh, I set it as parity. My bad. Disk 1. There we go. Use your head, Alex. Okay, so now that we've got the disk assigned, we're going to go ahead and start the array. Once we do this, it is going to let us know that, hey, this disk isn't formatted. We need to format this to be compatible. So we need to come over here to the format section. We want to say, yes, we want to do it. And then we're going to have to click format. It's going to go ahead and format the hard drive. And then once that's done, we can start adding some users and some shares. So formatting typically takes only a couple minutes depending on the size of the drive. As you can see, we are done. We've got 4 terabytes of usable space. So the first thing that you want to do is you don't want to be using root as your login. So we need to create a user. So we're going to add a user. Now name it something that's memorable for you, something easy like your name or whatever. And then you're going to go ahead and set a password. Now, once that's done, you can go ahead and start adding shares. Now, to do that, there's a couple steps that you have to do. So first step, we're going to add share. I'm just going to call this Alex. And then if you have a cache drive, you can set it to write to cache first and then copy over to array or move to array. You want to make sure that all your disks are included. You don't want to exclude any. And we're going to click add share. Now, once we add the share, we have to make this shareable. It's not shareable by default. So we have to come down here to the SMB security settings. We want to export it, yes. And from there, we just click apply. Now, for Mac, you don't have to use a username if it's set to public. If it's set to secure, you're going to need your window or your credentials, your user credentials that we just created to access it. Just for tutorial purposes, I'm going to set this to public and we're going to click apply. So how do we access this share? So if you're on a Macintosh, what you're going to do is you're going to hit the command button and K, and then it's going to bring up this connect to server screen. From there, you're going to click browse. And then here you see, wrong window. Here we can see that we have BC Adventure Test. So if we expand that, we see the folder here, Alex. and we see it being shared as a SharePoint folder. No, that's not accurate, and that's okay. We're just going to double click, and we are now inside of the drive. If we want to create a new folder, we can go ahead and do that. If we want to copy over some stuff, we can go ahead and do that too. Let's copy over the screenshots that I took of some comments earlier today. And just like that, we are writing to the new array. Okay, so what else can we do with this? Well, there's quite a bit we can do. Let's get all these windows closed here. We'll get the browser back up. Applications. This is a great tool. If you're not used to Docker, you don't have much knowledge in getting Linux, Docker, and applications up and running, this is a great resource for novice users all the way to experts. So to get started, we need to click install to download the community applications plugin. So we're going to do that. Only takes a few seconds. And then once it's done, we're going to close that. We're going to say that we do understand that these are third-party applications, meaning that Unraid has no affiliation to the creators of the applications unless Unraid has specifically released an app through the community app store. So if something goes wrong, there's a great Unraid community to help you out, but Unraid support typically won't touch third-party apps. So proceed with caution. And it's going to give you the same thing about the plugins as well. So what's a popular Docker application to install? Well, with the way Plex has been going, if you watch my last video, you may be looking for an alternative resource. Well, Jellyfin is your answer. If you haven't used Plex before, use Jellyfin. It is so much better in the sense that it's purely open source. It's not charging you monthly fees. It's a little finicky to get exposed to the internet, but my workaround for that is just install Tailscale. Don't worry about exposing ports. Don't worry about reverse proxies. Just use Tailscale. Put it on whatever device that you want to connect to your home server on, and then access Jellyfin that way. I promise you, it will save you hours of headaches. How do we get Jellyfin installed? Well, we need to do a couple things before we get started with that. So Jellyfin will need a media folder. So we need to go ahead and create a multimedia folder. So we're just going to name it multimedia and then add share. And then if you want to access this to add files from your main computer, you want to make sure that you are exporting it. So now that that's exported, we can, well, we need to copy some media over. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's copy some media. All right, so we've got some multimedia copied over. So we're going to go ahead and get Jellyfin installed. So we're just going to click on this guy. Oh, geez, we need to enable Docker. All right, let's head over to settings, Docker. And we need to enable Docker. We want to, 20 gigs is not really much. I always set mine at 40, and then we're going to click apply. It's going to go ahead and create the Docker image and all the required files. And then once that's done, we'll head back over to the App Store and get Jellyfin installed. So here we're going to install. And it's going to take us to the install page. So here, because this is our first Docker, we don't really need to touch anything other than where our shows are. So we're going to set this to multimedia and save. I did not put any movies on, so we're just going to set this to multimedia. And from there, that address is not correct, so we're just going to put in the correct IP address. Click apply. All right, so Jellyfin is installing. just an extra tip before you start, make sure that the Docker container, or sorry, the Docker image file is fully created before trying to install a Docker container. I did that because I keep forgetting I don't have a cache drive in this test server. So creating files is a lot slower on a mechanical drive than it is a cache drive or NVMe or SATA SSD drive. So now Jellyfin is completed. So we're just going to click done, and then we're going to head on over to our Docker tab. And we see Jellyfin is up and running. So if you're going to be using this as your main server, you're going to want to make sure that auto start is enabled. And then I also like to enable the advanced view because it allows us to see well, what is running, what is working, what's the CPU and memory load. And yeah, so before I do anything, I like to check the logs, make sure that it is up and running, which it is. And then from there, we're going to click on the web UI. It's going to ask us to run through the basic setup. So I'm just going to use my usual username, and then I'm going to set a password. And then we need to add a media library. So for this, we're going to do shows. And then I'm just going to label it TV shows because I'm neurotic. We're going to add the folder, TV shows, and then OK. And then here we need to set some basic information so that the metadata can download. I always set mine to United States, even though I'm in Canada, because I do have quite a few American shows, and American metadata is often better than Canadian metadata. And scroll down, make sure all our metas are enabled. Good to go. All right, click OK. And then we're going to go next. Preferred metadata, English and United States. Allow remote connections to the server. Yeah, we do want to do that. And it says we're finished. So we're going to get logged in. And there we go. Yeah, we've got King of the Hill. We've got The Simpsons. So if we open up TV shows here and episodes, we can see that we've got King of the Hill and The Simpsons. So let's just click play. Let's jump over.
Go back.
So this is a great episode. It's the Michael Jackson one. Oh, this is a great episode of The Simpsons. All right, so that's up and running. So what should we do next? Well, the next thing we want to do is we actually want to head over to the settings the main, and we want to click on our flash drive here. So what we're going to do is we're going to enable GUI mode when it starts up. So to do that, we want to make sure in our syslinux configuration that we're selecting Unraid OS GUI mode. And once you do that and click apply, it's good to go. All right, the next thing we need to do is head on over to our disk settings, and we want to enable auto start. The reason that we're doing this is so when we start our server or our server recovers from a power failure, when the server starts back up, it's going to automatically start your array and bring your server online, so no intervention is needed from you. Now, the next thing that we want to install is, well, some plugins. So for that, we're going to head on over to the apps, and we're going to search for a plugin called Fix Common Problems, if I could type. And then we're going to install this, and this is a LimeTech approved plugin, meaning that they endorse it. So it is now installed. And if you head over to your plugins and then open Fix Common Problems, it's going to scan your server and let you know of any issues that you may have. So in this case, it's highly recommended to have the Dynamix check plugins for updates. What that does is it makes sure that all our apps and plugins are up to date. Our Docker update check, that's recommended to enable update checks for Docker applications. And then background notifications not enabled. I personally hate them. If there's anything that's going on, I'll have a little red dot above my bell icon here, and then I can view any errors or notifications through that. So go ahead and set these how you like, and then from there, we can actually head back over to our apps, and we're going to go ahead and get Tailscale installed. So we're going to use the LimeTech official version. Going to install. It's going to go ahead and get installed. It's pretty quick. And we're done. So that's all done. If we head on over to plugins and then open Tailscale, we can log in with our user account and get it connected to the rest of our network. Why is Tailscale important? Well, it's important because if we're outside of our network and want to watch anything on our Jellyfin server, well, we need to have an easy and secure way to connect to it, and Tailscale is the way. It's free for up to 5 users, and I believe it's only $1 per user after that. So it's really cheap and affordable. It's a VPN powerhouse, and it actually works better than my Ubiquiti Unify built-in VPN server that's in my enterprise router. So yeah, it's a great tool to have installed. Next, we want to run some virtual machines. So where are we here? Virtual machine. Okay, so to enable virtual machines, we need to head on over to VM Manager, and we want to enable VMs, and we're going to click Apply. So one thing that I noticed that's new is that you can download the VirtIO drivers right from the the settings page. How amazing is that? Before, I would use the Proxmox version off the Proxmox help site and just copy it over to the ISOs folder. But it looks like Unraid does that for us now, which is a welcomed change. The next thing that we're going to need to do is, well, we're going to have to get a copy of Windows 10. So I have one called Tiny 10. I'm just going to bring that over and get that copied over to the server. So I'm just going to wait for that to finish, and then once that's done, we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so to get that copied over, we're actually going to have to open the ISO folder that the virtual machine manager created. And we're going to have to make this exportable so that we can copy over our ISO for it. Okay, so the ISO is now copied over. So we can head on over to our virtual machines, and then we're going to add a VM. And then from there, we're going to select Windows 10. And just going to leave that. We'll give it 2 cores. We'll give it 8 gigs of RAM. And here we need to select the operating system, which is Tiny 10. And then we need to set our hard drive size, which we're going to just set to 64. And it's already selected the VirtIO drivers, and I'm going to show you what to do with those in a second here. Now from there, we're just going to click Create, and it's going to boot up the drive, or sorry, boot up the VM as soon as Oh, no, we have to hit the space bar to enable it. So we'll try that again. We'll do force stop, and we'll do start with VNC. All right, we got it. Okay, so we're going to let this boot up, and as soon as that's there, we will jump into the installation. All right, so we're booted into the installation here, so we're going to power through it. So next, I'm going to accept. And here's where we need the VirtIO drivers. So don't get worried. It's super simple to get this stuff installed, and we're going to do all the drivers that we need right off the bat so we don't have to do it later. So the first thing we're going to load is our network drivers. So we're going to open up the E drive. We're going to go down to NetKVM, and we're going to open up the W10, and we're going to use the AMD 64. And here we see that we've got the Red Hat VirtIO Ethernet adapter. I'm going to click next, and it's going to go ahead and install that driver so that we're connected to the internet. Now, with virtual machines inside of Unraid, your virtual machine will get its own IP address, so you won't be sharing one with Unraid. We're going to open up load driver again and browse, and we're going to open up the CD drive, and we're going to go down to VirtIO store. We're going to open up Windows 10 and AMD 64. And here we've got the Red Hat VirtIO SCSI controller. Now, this is the virtual hard drive that we created. And once this is installed, we're going to be able to see our hard drive. And here we go. We've got the 64 gig drive. So we're just going to click next. It's going to start copying the files, getting everything ready, and then once that's done, it'll boot right into Windows. So I'm just going to let this install in the background, and then we can jump back into it as soon as it's finished. So what else do we need to do? Well, that's totally up to you. If you want to browse the applications folder here, the community applications, there are a ton of things you can get installed. I've done videos on installing WPS, Crafty, Plex, Tailscale, the Unify controller. If we actually open up my Unraid instance, I can show you quite a few applications that we've installed together. So we've done Plex, we've done Proxy Manager, we've installed Pi-hole, Sonar, Radar, SAB. I forget if I've done a Home Assistant one. We've done Tautuli, and a few of these you actually can't get anymore, like the YouTube download server you can't get. The KMS activator you can no longer get anymore. But we've installed all those Dockers together. So I've got a ton of tutorials on how to do that. So if you're curious and, feel like experimenting a bit, feel free to browse through my Unraid playlist, which will have a ton of tutorials on how to get these applications installed. Let's pop back over to our virtual machine and see where we're at. So still getting files ready for installation. Once we're finished this, it's no different from any other Windows 10 installation. It's going to ask you to run through the basic setup questions. And from there, you'll have a working Windows 10 machine. Let's see. Okay, so that's finishing up. Well, I guess that pretty much sums it up. We can look at our dashboard here. So this is a, we can see we've given our two CPUs here. It is utilizing it. Yeah, that's a new one. Yeah. So the Unraid is utilizing the top two CPU cores here.
Huh?
We can edit our server. So if we have one of these style servers, we can, actually this looks quite similar to mine. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. We can change the picture for it. We can also move this dashboard around. And you can actually do that in Docker as well. If you if you hit the lock button here and you have multiple containers, you can drag them around and reorganize them. There are some plugins where you can do groups for your Dockers and even folders. So the customization is pretty great. You can do a lot here. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap this video up here. That was a lot that we went through, and should be enough to get you started, up and running with Unraid. But yeah, I can do some other tutorials if you leave a comment down below and just let me know what you're interested in seeing. I would love to do some community-driven tutorials. If you feel like it, join the Discord server. It's in the channel description. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'll let you guys have some time back here, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it useful. If you want to see more content like this, like and subscribe. If you want to see anything different, or actually, you know what I do have coming up is I have to go over to Pender Island, and I have to do a service call for one of my clients. So I was thinking of bringing you guys along for that. Got my handy dandy nice camera here that I can bring with me, and give you guys a little sightseeing tour of the journey over from Vancouver Island to Pender Island, and then over to my customer's place where so what they would like done is having their VPN set up for them so they can access their resources from home, work from home. And I believe one of their servers is having a power issue. So I'm going to replace the power supplies in their server and get their VPN set up all for them. And yeah, we're gonna have a great time over there. Pender Island is actually a childhood place for me. My grandparents had a place there, and I spent a lot of time over on that island, so I'm pretty excited to go back. All right, you guys take it easy. I will catch you in the next one. Enjoy this weather. Man, we're getting some great sun right now on the island. But yeah, I will catch you in the next one. Take it easy, everyone.